What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Some commentary for you, Madden 18. I hate to be negative. I really do. I hate to be negative. But I'm going to go through some of these coaching adjustments and just give you some what-if situations, okay? So first of all, I'll put the link in the description. You want to go read this blog. This is something that came out of NCAA 14, which is a game that's been out of print for about 5 years. How we're just now getting in Madden, way beyond me. But there's some great things, okay? There's some really good things. So I'm going to go over them in the beginning because I think if done right, this is going to allow us to really have teams that play and feel differently. So essentially with the defensive adjustments, what we can do as a user is some things that we already can do now, like the defensive adjustment where you do the auto flips. That's something been in last year. A lot of people like it and enjoy it. We now have the ability to play the ball in the air where you've got your defender up. He's going to play the ball with an increased chance of interception, but with also an increased chance of the wide receiver catching the ball and breaking a tackle. The problem I have is with the play receiver and the SWAT ball. According to this, there is no chance of an interception occurring if you're playing play receiver, where you'll get the decreased chance of a broken tackle, or the SWAT ball, where you get an increased chance of knocking the ball out. With the skill of the defensive backs in the NFL today, if there's 3 ways my defenders can play the ball in the air, 2 of them should not mean I can't get an interception, because that just seems to be improbable. The option, which was in a few years ago where you could manually read the option, is now going to be set by the tone of how you set these settings up. A lot of setting the settings here as well. Now, the interesting thing for me is the pass rush, because this brings a new dimension to the game if done properly. So conservative pass rusher, outside rushers are going to play contain and look to swat passes, hopefully to the flat. If they're aggressive, they're going to attempt to jump the snap. Now, the cons are, with the pass rush, you don't get a jump the snap bonus, and the quarterback is going to have more time in the pocket if you're conservative. The interesting one, though, if you're aggressive, you're going to have a higher chance of an offside penalty versus a hard count, which in Madden has always been, against the AI, very convenient in its timing. But the pass rushers are going to see an increase in fatigue if you go aggressive, which means these things that have been in the NFL for a very long time. Dwight Freeney being signed late in his career to come in as a pass rush specialist. Also think about Trent Cole, Jason Babin. There's a lot of players that get brought in just for third down pass rush. And if this is how the game is going to be, I should be able to have third down pass rushers come in fresh. Now, the other problem I have is the strip ball. Conservatively, you'll lower your chance of breaking a tackle. The con is you're not going to be able to attempt a strip, which to me is a little bit ridiculous. When we start talking about things you cannot do, we're talking not a lot about situational football, but a lot about hard-coding the game. The aggressive thing, and here's where I have a problem as well. If you're aggressive, you're going to have a higher chance to strip the ball for a fumble, but the con is that you'll have a higher chance for a broken tackle or a face mask penalty. Here's my problem with this. This assumes that every time you strip the ball, you're going to be up against the player. What if you're trailing the player and you're trying to punch the ball out? So you mean to tell me that if I have it on conservative, I can't try to punch the ball out at all because that's the way the game is set up. But if it's aggressive, he's going to somehow turn around and face me so I can get a face mask penalty against me for 15 yards, all because I was playing aggressive. I don't like that, okay? And maybe it's just poorly written, maybe it's poorly worded here, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but when I'm talking about what's being said here, not attempt, will not, doesn't leave a whole lot of wiggle room. Now, as far as the offensive adjustments, these are going to be things that have kind of been there before in terms of hitting and holding buttons, but, the ball carrier is going to protect the ball. You're going to have a higher chance of triggering breaking tackles with your ball carrier adjustments, your blocking, your deep passing, all things that I think help the gameplay overall, strategy-wise, from one team to the next. Now, the big thing a lot of us have talked about, and this, again, is going to become a big problem with me, is the cornerback matchups. And here's why. There's a few ways you can set these. You can set them by overall, which is the highest rated corner, highest rated receiver. Set them by speed, fastest corner, fastest receiver. Set them by height, tallest to tallest. Set them by route running, which is your highest man coverage corner versus the highest route running receiver. And then set by depth chart, which is just the overall rating, which I don't know why couldn't also be considered by overall, but I guess they wanted to put 5 of them in here. So we talked the other day that your floor and ceilings aren't too high in Madden. So if I have, just as an example, 2 cornerbacks rather, that are the same speed, one of them is really bad on bump and run on press coverage. How is the game going to determine which receiver is covered by which cornerback, and why can't I set it myself? Just like if I wanted to play height and I've got a rookie cornerback that I got that's really tall, but he's horrible outside of everything else, I'm going to try to build him up. If I'm playing by height, he's automatically going to be on the tallest receiver. That makes no sense. There should be some type of personnel decision that I can make here apart from just the tallest goes to the tallest, the speediest goes to the speediest. You know, if my best man cover corner is injured and slower, I should not have to put him out there on the best route running player. I should have some type of give and take. And apparently it's just not going to happen. But again, that's just me reading into what's here. I do like a lot of this. I really do. I think this is something sadly missing from the game. I think it's something that's going to, as I've mentioned multiple times here, if done properly, and that seems to be the problem, if done properly, add another level of strategy, not just to online, but offline as well in terms of your personnel. It's going to help the teams have a unique identity with how they play. It's going to have your team having a unique identity with how it plays, and it may even change how team plays given situations, and that's the most important thing. In the 2-minute and the 4-minute, down by more than 2 touchdowns, those are when teams play differently, and it really hasn't been in Madden. And although it may be in it now, to see some of the things that are being stopped or the way some of the things are being presented, yes, it's more realistic, but it's also opening up its whole other set of problems that would be unrealistic and really harmful to gameplay in and of itself. I can see myself being very angry with the game, adjusting my depth chart for my cornerbacks in a way I may be wanted by speed or by height, but maybe not in a realistic way given the way the player should be handling certain situations. Zone or man, I should be able to have a little bit more control over that. You're really only giving me partial control according to what I'm reading. I appreciate you guys checking this video out, all the support you've given me all week. I'm going to be back very soon with more commentary, and again, thank each and every one of you for the support you give me in my channel.